Welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene, our statewide show on Cox View Channel 3 and across the world on YouTube, of course. Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Got a great show for you today. And of course, everybody's talking about brackets in basketball. We'll take a look at the NCAA brackets and talk to former Kansas Hall of Fame basketball coach Ted Owens, get the inside information. Oklahoma State is the number one seed, but not NCAA, the NIT number one seed. Oklahoma Prep basketball wrapped up with state tournament play this past week. Our own Michael Knight of PrepHoops.com will have a complete recap for you. Also have special interviews for you with two championship high school basketball coaches, Edmond North, Scott Norris, the 6A champions, and from 2A, Dale, their incredible basketball program there with Jeff Edmondson. Their coach will be on the show with us. And it's wrestling time in Oklahoma this week. The NCAA National Championships come to Tulsa's BOK Center. We'll be talking to John Smith, legendary wrestling coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, as they get ready to go after another national title. And a triple dead heat, one of the rarities of horse racing. We'll show it to you coming up in the Remington Race Report later in sports here. Now let's check this week's Tulsa World Hot Topics. We'll start with our soccer team, FC Tulsa, opened the season under a new head coach, Blair Gavin, playing down in Miami. Miami got off to a quick start in the game. They scored in the 26th minute on a goal just outside the box. The Tulsa goalkeeper, Michael Nelson, really had no chance on a heck of a shot there. But just a couple of minutes later, FC Tulsa evened the match when Colin Fernandez hit a strike about 20 yards out. The goalkeeper deflected it, bounced away from him, went to the foot of Milo Yosef, and he put it in the back of the net for FC Tulsa. Nelson, by the way, made 6 big saves to preserve the FC Tulsa tie. And they'll now take on Birmingham Legion on the road on the 17th. The first home match will be March 25th against Loudoun United, 7:30 kick at One Oak Field. The FC Tulsa off to a 1-point gain in that tie with Miami. And congratulations to the University of Arkansas men's and women's track team. They're the best in the nation. They both won NCAA championship titles this past week, sweeping it for the first time in 1 year by one school since 2016. The women clinched the 4th indoor NCAA championship in their history, setting also a new world record in the 4x400 relay. That clinched the championship for them as they destroyed the Texas relay team to clinch their national title. For the top-ranked men's Arkansas team, the Razorbacks' 21st indoor national title and 42nd overall in track championships in Fayetteville. What an incredible track and field program the Razorbacks have. Oilers hockey update now. Ice Oilers dropped 2 home games this past weekend. The Division I leading Cincinnati, the BOK Center this past Friday and Saturday. The highlight was Saturday night's crowd, though, 13,388, as the Oilers had the 3rd largest crowd so far in the ECHL this season. After 56 games, the Oilers are now 19-29. They'll play 8 of the next 9 games on the road. They're at South Dakota, at Kansas City, and all the way to Maine for a trip. They just one home game the rest of this month on Sunday, March the 26th, as the Oilers will host Kansas City at the BOK Center. Oilers indoor football, Tulsa's new professional indoor football team, had their first practice on March the 9th inside the Titan Sports Complex in Jenks. Head coach Marvin Jones and his staff ran the team through some conditioning drills and some final teamwork in the 2-hour session. The Oilers have to cut their squad to a 20-man roster before their opening game. That game is March the 25th on the road in Frisco, Texas. By the way, the Oilers' first home game in their BOK Center, the new Professional Football League, will be April the 15th. Well, all everybody's talking about right now, of course, in college basketball is NCAA madness and now the NIT with Oklahoma State going there. We'll talk about more basketball, some special guests coming up. I'm glad you're here with us here on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Right back with basketball.
The Tulsa Oilers are back on the ice. With a new owner, a new look, and a new attitude. Save big on season tickets today. 2022-23 season. Tickets starting as low as $17 per month. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers are back.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine in, curbside, or carry out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Remington Park Racing returns with the 2023 Spring Quarter Horse season, running from March 9 to June 3rd. $1 million races, multiple Saturday programs featuring the best horses in big money action, and racing champions all competing throughout the season. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Thursday through Sunday. First race at 6 p.m. nightly, Sunday afternoon racing 4 p.m. The top quarter horse paint and Appaloosa racing season continues through June 3rd at Remington Park.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank. We never forget it's your money.
Welcome to March Madness. All underway here back in Tulsa. Started on Monday morning with a bracketology breakfast that Oral Roberts always hosts at Southern Hills Country Club. One of our guests coming up on the show, Ted Owens, is on the panel there. Got some good details and some information about the NCAA tournament coming up. 81%, think about this, 81% of NCAA college basketball teams do not make the tournament. That's just number 12, Oral Roberts University sure did though. 12th seed will take on 5th seeded Duke. They'll be playing March the 16th in Orlando, Florida. And again, Oral Roberts trying to be a giant killer in this opportunity. Of course, who would think they'd also go against the Blue Devils? Second round NCAA tournament start on March the 18th. Sweet 16, March 23rd through 24th. The Elite 8, the 25th through 26th. The Final Four, April 1st. And then the National Championship game, April 3rd at the football stadium down there in Houston, Texas. Think about this, too. Every year since 2016, a double-digit seed has made it to the Sweet 16. And this season tipped off, of course, back on November the 7th. The regular season ended then with the final conference tournament game this past Sunday, March the 12th. Now the National Championship Tournament takes over the spotlight with 68 men's and women's teams, with 32 earning automatic invitations with conference championships or conference tournament wins. Another 36 teams getting the at-large bids. 2023 tournament will tip off on March the 14th. The first 4 playoff games played in Dayton, Ohio. And then the 4 number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament this year. In the South, it'll be Alabama. They're the overall number 1 seed as well. In the Midwest, Houston Cougars, number 1. Kansas, disappointing Big 12, dropped them all the way to a 3rd number 1 seed. They'll be playing in the West region. And the East, it's number 1 Purdue in the West side. Oklahoma State University, first one out in the NCAA, but they're number 1 in the NIT. 18-15 record. The Cowboys, the number 1 seed in the National Invitation Tournament. They get things underway against Youngstown State, a 24-9 Horizon League championship team, playing on Wednesday. Cowboys, as a top seed, should be hosting the games, but because of the NCAA tournament, other things going on the OSU campus, didn't have the staff for it, so the Cowboys had to be on the road for their first game. Then hopefully they win a game and come back and play at Gallagher for a second round in the NIT. When we return, Oklahoma Sports Scene, we get much more in the NCAA tournament, the NIT as well, with Hall of Fame basketball coach Ted Owens straight ahead.
You did it, Tulsa. You name the team. We name the team. You name the team. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m., BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com to get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast pace, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine-in, curbside, or carry-out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Remington Park Racing returns with the 2023 Spring Quarter Horse season, running from March 9 to June 3rd. million-dollar races, multiple Saturday programs featuring the best horses in big money action, and racing champions all competing throughout the season. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Thursday through Sunday. First race at 6 p.m. nightly, Sunday afternoon racing 4 p.m. The top quarter horse paint and Appaloosa racing season continues through June 3rd at Remington Park.
And back at Billy Sims Barbecue in the Farm Shopping Center for Oklahoma Sportscene this week, and joined again by a great friend, the Hall of Fame basketball coach, the University of Kansas Jayhawks, our own Ted Owens. Took two Jayhawk teams to the Final Fours in 1971 and 74, made 7 trips to the NCAA tournament. So, Coach, you know what it's all about. Nothing quite like March Madness, is there?
No, nothing like it. You know, most of the time, well, maybe not, maybe half the time that I coached at KU, you had to win the conference in order to qualify for the NCAA tournament. And now we're worried about an 8th place team that wasn't able to get in. So it's a lot of changes over the years.
Coach is one of the panelists on the Monday morning ORU Bracketology Breakfast at Southern Hills Country Club. They host every year to help people fill out their brackets. Packed group there, joined by Tom Burnett. He was last year's NCAA Selection Committee chairperson. Of course, Paul Mills, the outstanding coach at Oral Roberts University, who's taking his team back to the big dance. And Joe Lenardi, the bracketology expert, came on by a Zoom call to help the folks fill out their brackets. Coach, I thought it was interesting. All the panel talked about looking for teams they think can do well in the tournament, don't have to go past the Big 12. They're playing the best basketball, top to bottom, in the entire country all year.
Yeah, the thing that bothered me a little bit is that they say that the Big 12 is the best conference in the country, and yet we get 7 teams in, and 2 of the other conferences that
SEC and Big 10 both got 8 in.
Yeah, they both get 8 in. So we were a little bit upset that Oklahoma State didn't get in view of the fact that I think they really had a bad judgment a year ago that eliminated them from a tournament, and so I was hopeful that they'd make it in. But we're glad that ORU has made it, and they catch a tough one in the first game against Duke.
I don't think that was an accident, is it? They put the Oral Roberts University Golden Eagle Christians against the Duke Blue Devils. Wow.
Well, maybe there's hope.
Well, who would have thought, 2 years ago, well, they had no shot. They have to play Ohio State, Florida, and Oral Roberts, and right through both of them, right to the Sweet 16.
You know what I loved? I was watching the CBS show, the bracket show the other day, and I was really thrilled to see the ORU team when they announced it. They wanted Duke.
That's right.
They wanted a good team. Yeah. So that gave me a lot of good hope that they're going to go in and really battle Duke.
Coach, we've talked about this before. This has been a very strange college basketball season. The example is, of course, the Big 12 regular season champions, Kansas, blown out by Texas 76-56. Coach, that really cost them. They were solid. Everybody's saying #1 seed overall. They fell to the #3 seed, and instead of maybe going from Des Moines to Kansas City, they're now in the West Regional, which means if they get through Des Moines, they have to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, and because Kansas City has, over the years, has been a good place for the Jayhawks to play.
It's their home court outside of Lawrence. Yeah. Here's some other examples here. ACC Duke upset Virginia by 10, 59-49. The team that Oral Roberts will be playing. The Pac-12, Arizona beat #2 UCLA 61-59. The Big 10, Purdue held off, I don't know where Penn State came from, 7th seed Penn State, a heck of a battle. Alabama grabbed that #1 seed overall because they just crushed Texas A&M 82-63. The toughest, though, Coach, what do you think of the 4 NCAA regionals? What do you think would be the toughest?
I thought maybe that the East and the West were maybe the toughest of the 2, and those are the ones that Kansas and ORU are in.
When you know that, and of course, you mentioned the kids at Oral Roberts seem really excited about the challenge of Duke. Playing a blue blood, they're going to know as a 12 seed, you're going to get a heck of a challenge. But that 12 against 5 has always been one of the ones people circle as possible upsets in the bracket tournament.
Yeah, you know, that it'll be interesting to see how ORU does. You know, Paul Mills has done an incredible
Yeah.
job there, and I believe they're a little deeper than they were a couple of years ago. The young man in the finals of the Summit tournament comes off the bench and has 20 points.
Yeah.
So Paul's able to substitute. The big guy causes a lot of
Wait, so is he
people
7'5",
trouble.
that center there?
7'5".
Wow.
Not only is a defender, but he can score inside, and he can shoot the three.
He's got a nice outside stroke
so,
too, yeah.
So for some teams, that'll pose a problem, I think.
And of course, it's still a guard-oriented game, and OU's got one of the best in the nation, Max Asmus.
Well, I think the Big 12 Conference defensively, I mean, think back to a couple of years ago. In the finals, everyone thought Gonzaga is going to win the championship. But they faced those Baylor guards, and they had a tough time running their offense. And I see a lot of the Big 12 teams with good, tough defenders. Texas, TCU, Baylor. So I think the Big 12 is going to fare very well.
This Max Asmus is a special player, though, for Coach Mills. Max, what a player! Wow.
4 years ago, Bob Hill, who was my assistant at Kansas, called and told me, he said, "Hey, I want you to meet someone." He said he plays for my son here in Dallas with Jesuit High School, and he's coming to ORU to play. And he not only is a terrific player, but he's one of the finest young men. And everyone at ORU raves about Max, and not only his playing ability, but kind of a great young man that he is.
ORU heads to Orlando, Florida for their game against the Duke Blue Devils. They take a 30-4 record, 18-0 Summit League record, and the nation's longest win streak, 18. They've got some good momentum going for them.
You bet.
Oh, boy. Coach, let's talk now about Oklahoma State University. We all thought, okay, come on, the NCAA has to feel so guilty the way they jobbed them last year that sure they'll give them that last spot. Didn't happen. They get the #1 spot, though, in the NIT.
Well, two different bodies, the NCAA enforcement and this committee, who is made up of people associated with the NCAA, but not necessarily. I still think that Oklahoma State, they cooperated with the NCAA, and they, in my opinion, the violation was much less than other teams that get a slap on the wrist.
And didn't affect any of the players who were on the current team. That's what was really sad. Oklahoma State, again, they can't seem to catch a break, Coach. #1 seed, which means you will host the first round game of the NIT, but it won't be because the NCAA Wrestling Championships are here this weekend. Most of the Oklahoma State staff, as the host university for the championships, are going to be here in Tulsa, so they couldn't put a staff together to host the tournament at Gallagher, Iowa, so they will have to go to Ohio, and they will start against the Horizon League champion, Youngstown State.
You bet, and let's hope they have a great finish to their season.
And we talk about some tough seasons for both the University of Tulsa and for OU, and I feel so bad for Coach Eric Conkle, who's had such great success in the past and just had a real rough start in his first season for TU. Yeah,
it's going to take him a while. With the transfer portal and all that, who knows what can happen in a short period of time. But I have a lot of confidence that he's going to do a good job. It's just going to take a little while.
And Porter Mosher, his OU team, a strange team. They ended up with a 15-17 record, and last place despite they had quad wins over Alabama, Kansas State, Iowa State, and TCU.
No, even at the end of the year, their last home game, they beat TCU. I regard TCU as maybe the most talented team in the conference.
All right, Coach, time for a pick. Do you have your national champion in mind? Who do you think will play for the championship down in Houston?
It's different than in past years. I mean, you could look to UCLA or Duke or Kansas or whatever, but there have to be 20 teams that are close enough and capable of winning it. I obviously am pulling for Kansas to do well, for Oral Roberts to do well, and I had a lot of confidence when Kansas was going to play in Des Moines and then back to Kansas City.
Right.
But that road gets a little bit tougher now.
Well, the good news is their outstanding Hall of Fame basketball coach, Bill Self, will be with them. Had a couple of stints put in at the KU Medical Center. They said they do plan to have Bill back on the bench there and get that undefeated assistant out of the way too, huh, Coach?
Yeah, Norm Roberts had run off 7 in a row there. Now you're not going to get away without mentioning my son, Teddy.
We've talked high school basketball. In fact, coming up next, we're going to have a quick recap of the prep season here with our own Michael Knight, talk about the state championship games and what a job, again, Teddy Owens did. And how many teams he taken to the state tournament?
This is 5 in a row state tournament teams. And they bumped them up to 5A during the middle of the year, and they still made the state and got all the way to the semifinals. But he had a wonderful group of kids at Holland Hall, and I'm really proud of him.
As you should be. Coach Owens, thank you as always for joining us, Coach.
Great to see you, Chris, as always.
Fill out your bracket, then just enjoy the games. Don't worry about it. Back again with Michael Knight, and we'll talk high school championship basketball in Oklahoma.
You did it, Tulsa. You name the team. We name the team. You name the team. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m., BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com to get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast pace, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
Hi, this is Spencer Tillman, Fox Sports, and you're watching the Oklahoma Sports Scene.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank, we never forget it's your money.
Welcome back on Oklahoma Sports Scene. It was now Michael Knight. He's our guy behind the scenes usually. He's our director, editor for Oklahoma Sports Scene. Does a fabulous job here. Also, he's immersed in high school sports. This time of year, it's at prephoops.com, covering all the high school sports. You had a busy weekend of championship basketball, and I tell you, the East Side didn't do so well over on the West Side.
Yeah, it was a tough trip back for a lot of the East Side teams. There were some teams that had some success making it to the championship games. In Class 6A on the boys' side, Broken Arrow, Owasso played a great semifinal on Friday. Broken Arrow making it to the title game. 5A girls, Sapulpa and Holland Hall, an all East Side affair. Those two played an absolute classic. Staley Hurd, I hope I said that first name right, had an outstanding game, over 40 points plus the game winner. But every other champion was an Oklahoma City area school. But that's historically how it's kind of played out in Oklahoma over the last couple decades, where the majority of the power, so to speak, in basketball is in the Oklahoma City area. It's the complete opposite of football.
Football, exactly. Yeah. Let's start then, taking you, Michael, to the Big House in Oklahoma City for the 2A, 3A, and 4A championships. The Big House, of course, under renovation, and what's it look like now? What do you think?
I think they're about to tear the whole thing down. I know they're renovating it. What they have on deck is pretty special. So I'm excited to see what's the next stage of the Big House. But it was one final state tournament in the current construction of it, and it was a really fun day on Saturday.
You know, I don't know what more we can say about this 2A school that just has been so dominant of Dale High School. What a program. And a school, 192 students.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they don't even play football, so they have to do something. They play basketball. And, the question coming in wasn't whether or not Dale was going to win the state championship. It was how much were they going to win it by. And they averaged, I think, 27 points per game as far as the winning margin. They were able to flip a switch. Their semifinal game and their championship game, they were close after the first quarter with both. In fact, I think that Bacola was beating them at the end of the first quarter. Yeah. And then they just flipped that switch. Dayton Forsythe, their star, one of the best players in the state, he showed why throughout the weekend as he helped lead them to a state championship and a perfect season. And when you combine that with what they did earlier in the year, winning the Tournament of Champions. And we'll hear from Coach Edmondson in our next segment, and he talks about how tough of a schedule they played. They played some of the best teams in Class 2A and some of the higher classes as well. They won them all. So, I mean, it's special.
That blows my mind, too, talking to the coach. You'll hear that next segment here, but their entire starting five are coming back next season at Dale.
Yeah, it's one of those things where both of the coaches that we have, we knew at the end of last year that Edmond, North, and Dale were going to be right back in the mix this season because they returned literally their entire starting lineup. And then, unfortunately, for the rest of 6A and 2A in this regard, they're all back again. So all of Dale's back, all of Edmond North is back. Some really good basketball being played with those two schools with young talent that just continues getting better and better.
All right, let's wrap up now. The 3A, who had the gold balls there?
Yeah, Millwood Metro Christian ended up playing on Saturday morning. Millwood going back-to-back as state champions. Metro Christian, their run, they had a great season, making it all the way to the state championship game. But Millwood, Zaire Fisher had a fantastic tournament all 3 days, so consistent. Jaden Nickens, their star player as well, he was consistent throughout the tournament. Just a really special athlete that they have, but Millwood has it going, and they set the state record as well. It should be noted for Michael Jeffries, their head coach, leading Millwood to their 17th state championship in school history, which breaks a tie with Booker T. Washington for the most boys championships, at least under the OSSAA. Obviously, before those schools joined the OSSAA, they won plenty of championships prior to that. But Millwood was 17 titles, the most in state history.
3A girls?
Yeah, it was Jones, and it was Jones going 3 in a row, 3 straight state championships for them, and that's a rare thing nowadays. A team winning 3 consecutive state championships in basketball, and on the girls' side specifically, Jones, Boston Berry, she had a great tournament. They did a really good job on Saturday capturing another gold ball.
And wrapping up the play in the big house, 4A champions.
Yeah, Douglas and Weatherford on Saturday night. That was a really fun championship matchup with Terry McMorris from Douglas. He's been one of the best players in the state all season, and he showed why on Saturday. He finished with, I believe, 20 points, 14 rebounds, and really set the tone early, helped lead Douglas to a state championship. You know, Douglas, there for about a decade, they absolutely dominated Class 4A, but they hadn't been to a championship game since 2017. They hadn't even been to the state tournament since 2017. So it was good to see Douglas back on top. And you mentioned teams that are young.
Right.
Weatherford, they had to settle for the silver ball on Saturday, but they're going to be bringing back almost everybody. So I expect Weatherford to be right back in the mix, potentially raising a gold ball next year.
Now let's go to Lloyd Noble Center, the University of Oklahoma campus. They were the host of the 5A and 6A, the big school championship games. And I know we didn't come back with a gold ball, but we sent some good teams over there.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at Class 5A, you know, we mentioned Sapulpa and the girls team and the classic that they won with Holland Hall. On the boys' side, defending champion Memorial, they fall in a close game with Del City. They didn't have the firepower that they normally do. Del City, after losing to Memorial in the state title game last year, they were ready for that rematch with the Chargers. So it was interesting to see a little mid-Del battle for the state championship between Del City and Carl Albert. On the boys' side, they played a close game with Del City coming out on top. I mentioned on the show last week, Del City had the best player in the 5A state tournament, Brandon Garrison, who's headed to Oklahoma State, a McDonald's All-American. He ended up being the tournament most valuable player, a dominant performance all 3 days. Nobody had an answer for Garrison, and he showed why he's one of the best players in Oklahoma.
I also want to go back and give a quick shout out again to the Sapulpa. the girls basketball team of Coach Darlene Callip. Incredible game with Holland Hall. Scored with just 3.5 seconds left in the game to win that. What a dominant team they have been. That was their 6th girls state title, and that's second in the last 3 seasons for Sapulpa.
Yeah, Coach Caleb is one of the best in the last 10, 15 years. What she's done with that Sapulpa girls program. There's been some down years, there's been some lean years, but then more times than not, Sapulpa's making it to the state tournament. They're contending for championships, and now that they're in Class 5A, which more fits their enrollment, they were going back and forth between 5A and 6A for a large part of the last decade. They've been able to find a home in 5A, and they've been just at home with state championships.
And Michael, I'm sure you got even more information wrapping things up on prephoops.com.
Yeah, you can check it out. We have all the information. We have highlights that we've been tweeting out throughout the weekend. Edmond North capturing another gold ball. And how about Edmond North and Dale? We're talking to the boys coaches coming up next. But both the boys and girls captured state championships. So the second straight year that Edmond North swept Class 6A. The girls team won, and then later on in the day, the boys team won as well. There's something in the water right now at Edmond North, where that school is crazy about basketball right now, and for good reason, as both of their boys and girls basketball teams are back-to-back champions.
We come back on Oklahoma Sports Scene. You'll hear more about that Edmond North program with their head basketball coach, Scott Norris, and then the amazing story of little 2A Dale High School with their coach, Jeff Edmondson. Both straight ahead on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
The Tulsa Oilers are back on the ice with a new owner, a new look, and a new attitude. Save big on season tickets today, 2022-23 season. Tickets starting as low as $17 per month. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers are back.
Remington Park Racing returns with the 2023 Spring Quarter Horse season, running from March 9 to June 3rd. $1 million races, multiple Saturday programs featuring the best horses in big money action, and racing champions all competing throughout the season. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Thursday through Sunday. First race at 6 p.m. nightly, Sunday afternoon racing 4 p.m. The top quarter horse paint and Appaloosa racing season continues through June 3rd at Remington Park.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine-in, curbside, or carry-out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Coach Norris, congratulations again and again. Edmond North, still the kings of 6A basketball. What a season!
Yeah, it was fun. I appreciate you having me on, and it's been a fun ride the last 2 years. So we'll just keep trying to enjoy it as much as we can.
26-2, Coach. Last time we saw you on this side of the state, you got upset in that Tournament of Champions. Quite an upset there. It was a Crosby Christian beat you, and then you went on quite a run after that. I think 18 consecutive games.
Yes, thanks for reminding us about that Crossing game. I appreciate that. No, but I think that game really helped us, know that we weren't, invincible. And if we didn't take care of the details, there was teams that were talented enough to be able to beat us. And since that game, we played really well, and then we got kind of lucky in playoffs. Some, had some close games. We're behind late in some games, so the kids did a great job of staying focused and getting it done.
You guys had a target on your back since last season. Everybody expecting you guys to be back in this championship game. Obviously, your kids handled it well, handled the pressure.
Yeah, expectations were really high from when we left the court at OU last year. Talking about people had already talked about repeats, and because we had a group of sophomores that are extremely talented that were juniors this year, so they did do a good job of handling expectations. And I was probably more stressed than anybody just because I didn't want to screw it up. And I wanted to put the kids in the best position I could for them to be successful. So it was great on our kids. We've got good leadership, and that from day one when we started workouts, last March after winning it last year, they did a great job of keeping us focused and really working hard.
Let's talk about the transformation that outstanding junior guard of yours, Theo Barrett, good player, really one of the top prospects in the state for high school basketball.
Yeah, he made a big leap athletically. Really, his explosiveness has gotten so much better. Last year being his first year as a varsity player, he had a learning curve, and I felt like he played his best basketball in the state tournament last year. And then he just keeps working and working at his game and spends a lot of time, really trying to hone his craft. And he wants to be so good, but athletically and physically, he's made some big jumps because of his work in the weight room, and just continues to get better. So we are excited to see his progress.
Talking with the coach of the 6A state champion high school basketball team of Oklahoma, Edmond Norris, Scott Norris. And Coach, talk about some of the other key players. Certainly, Dylan Warlick seemed to be a guy that always showed up when you needed the big play. Yeah,
Dylan's, Mr. Consistency, and he's, had a great career already at Edmond North, and will end up being the all-time career points leader in school history early next season. Averaged a double-double in the state tournament, and just a tremendous player that we can always rely on, and just always seems to get the job done. And not too many teams have an inside presence like he is, and I look forward to him, even expanding his game more and more, as this, into this spring and summer, and what he can do going into next year. So TJ Strong, a senior for us, had a great state tournament, had a great season, and we asked him to score a little bit more and be a little bit bigger presence rebounding wise, and he did that. And so just a great group of kids that, we played 7 kids in the state tournament, and our rotation was a little shorter, but our kids found a way to get it done.
Finally, Coach Norris, I wish I could let you enjoy this back-to-back second state championship in a row, but all of a sudden people are saying, hey, no 6A team in the history of Oklahoma basketball has ever won 3 in a row. The three-peat is next, Coach.
Well, that's because it's really, really difficult. And really in the landscape of high school basketball right now, it's hard because I'm sure there'll be teams that add some players. There's so much movement now. I think, the transfer portal's kind of trickled down into high school basketball. So I'm sure there'll be some teams that will look different next year. Our team could look different next year if, we do lose TJ and we lose, 4 other seniors. Connor Mills is just a tremendous leader for us, and has been a kid culture-wise. It's kind of irreplaceable. So we have some things that we've got to get better at, and some kids that we have to replace. So, three-peat is something right now that I'm, not thinking about. After we have our Joplin excursion today, we're headed to Tulsa to see our new grandson and spend some time with him. So we'll start, after spring break. Hey, what do we need to do in workouts? How do we need to get our kids better, get back in the weight room? And the focus will just be on getting better every day.
Coach Scott Norris, again, the champion Edmond North 6A basketball team. Coach, congratulations. Thanks for taking a little time on the road for us. And again, enjoy your little time off here.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Welcome the 6A state champions to the 2A state champions and the perfect Dale High School basketball team of Coach Jeff Edmondson. Coach, congratulations. What a season. What a program you built there at Dale.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, it's been a special season. It's kind of a special team, and it's just from the first game to the Tournament of Champions and then going undefeated. It's just been an awesome year.
Yeah, we so enjoyed your team at the Tournament of Champions here in Tulsa. Kind of let everybody know again, this Dale team was going to be just as good as they were the year before. And well, what a string you've put together, Coach, of again this season 32-0 and now a win streak of some 39 games, getting ready for next season.
Yeah, next season, I tell everybody I'm the luckiest coach in the state that we got all these guys back. They were so young. You mentioned last season, and I thought even that was really special. I thought we started 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores, and I thought that was really remarkable to win a state championship that year, and then to back it up to go undefeated this year and play in the tournament of champions and play against a lot of larger schools. And our schedule is really tough. Most nights we're playing a ranked team, and they come after Dale. They want to beat us, so we know we're going to get everybody's best shot. So to be able to stay perfect and go undefeated and win the 2A championship, it's been a special run.
And you just dominated the 2A state championship run, Coach. My gosh, you won all 3 of your state tournament games by an average of 27 points a game.
It was a good run. We've got a really good team. We've got a lot of depth. Dayton Forsyth, I think he's the best player in the state. I tell everybody, if I'm picking teams, if you give me the first pick, I know who I'm going to pick every time. I wouldn't hesitate. I'd get Dayton Forsyth on my team. He's one of those guys that he elevates his game, but he elevates his teammates' game. He's a really good passer, and he's one of those guys that makes everybody better.
And for the second consecutive year, he won the 2A MVP state tournament award. And Coach, this just doesn't seem fair. Is this right that you return your entire starting lineup for the 23-24 season next year? We
do. We had 3 seniors who were great leaders and in the locker room and great practice players, but we're going to miss those 3 seniors. But yeah, the guys that were playing on the floor most of the time, we return them on next year.
Coach, where do you find these guys? I'm looking at Dale, one online. Is that true? The enrollment at Dale High School, 192 kids. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm just really blessed. These guys, I've been coaching them for quite a while. My son is a sophomore on this team, and so it's kind of him and it's all his friends. So, of course, I was going to coach my son whenever he was young, so probably about 2nd or 3rd grade, we started getting everybody together and going to tournaments, and we kind of knew right away that we kind of had a special group. We played against some really good competition through the years and hung with them, and we beat a lot of good teams on Saturday afternoons.
I can't imagine the student body, in fact, the whole town of Dale. This is really going to be very special for these people there.
Definitely, everybody at Dale, they really enjoy athletics like most people do. So we always get great crowds and great support, and it's just a great group to be around. It's like our bench is great. We get so much support from all the kids on our bench. Practices are so competitive, and they've all got such good attitudes. They're also unselfish. I mean, you see it on the floor by the way they play. They pass the ball around, and they're really unselfish, but they're really good kids. And from top to bottom, they're really unselfish.
And a really, really good coach. Dale Edmondson, the head coach of the Pirates of great, incredible Dale High School, 2 straight state championships, 39-game win streak. Coach, enjoy the brief off season. They'll be challenging you to make it a 3-peat, of course, next year. Good luck. Congratulations, Coach.
Definitely. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Okay, back with more Oklahoma Sports Scene right after this.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine in, curbside, or carry out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Hi, I'm Scotty Hennessy, manager of the Tulsa Drillers, and you're watching the Oklahoma Sports Scene.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank. We never forget it's your money.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. While the nation is all caught up with basketball, here in Tulsa, the spotlight's going to be on wrestling. The NCAA Championships are here in Tulsa this week, March 16th through the 18th. Oklahoma State Cowboy Wrestling program is the most successful in the history of all sports in the NCAA college ranks. They had a 3rd place finish in the recent Big 12 championship. Now they had their sights set on another national championship. Joining us now via Zoom call from Stillwater, the legendary head coach of the Cowboys since 1991, his 32nd season, John Smith, We asked the coach to recap his team's regular season and the Big 12 tournament.
Well, we had a good season. I mean, going into the beginning of the year, I told my staff this will be one of the biggest challenges that I've had in my career, 31 years of being a head coach. Just some of the changes and some of the guys that we lost. We had to make some quick adjustments, but in the end, it's been one of the most satisfying as well. I mean, we went 14-3. We could have won 2 of those matches. Just a break here or there, but the Big 12, we scored 130 plus points, and we've won the Big 12 probably 8 to 10 times with that many points. We just took second, just the way it was. Missouri had a better tournament, but our effort has been really good in the last 6 weeks. We've wrestled as good as we've wrestled, and that's what you hope for as you go into the NCAA championship.
And of course, that's this week, March 16th to the 18th at the BOK Center, downtown Tulsa. It's going to be a massive turnout, huge event for the city. And Coach, you guys got a great group here. They said you've got 10 wrestlers. Only Iowa, Missouri, and Virginia Tech have qualified as many wrestlers for the NCAA championships as the Cowboys have.
Yeah, it's fortunate. I mean, the Big 12, it's a tough conference. I mean, we ended up with 78 qualifiers that came out of the Big 12, and historically we've been running around the mid-50s. And so that's just telling you what the Big 12 is in wrestling. It's gotten a lot better. It's really tough. It's really competitive. And for us to get 10 out of that tournament, I'm really pleased with it. But we got to participate at the Nationals. If you're not scoring points, you're not winning matches, there's no team points, So, yeah, we're taking 10, but we need 10 guys participating and winning.
Well, no question you're led by that incredible All-American, undefeated Dalton Fix. Let's talk about that young man, 133 pounds, a second seed, but going after he's just been such a decorated wrestler. This would be great to finally get an NCAA championship for him.
Yeah, 3 of the best guys in the entire nation is at that weight. I think the 1, 2, and 3, if you had to do a statistic on who's the greatest wrestlers in college wrestling over the 10 weights, I think there's 3 of them would go 1, 2, and 3 at 133. That's how tough this weight class is. That's how good it is. Very, very good, very competitive. Dayton Fix will have to have a great tournament to win. And he's ready to have that. He's taken second the last several years. And one guy that's kind of held him back is Bravo Young from Penn State. And so hopefully this is his year, and he puts together his best tournament he's had all year.
Well, 3 other Cowboys earned top 10 seats for the NCAA this week. That includes Dustin Plott, Caden Geller, and Travis Whitley. Talk about those guys and their hopes.
Well, this has been an odd year for us, and normally we would have guys a lot higher. But I think it's just the parity right now is incredible, and it's tough. But G. Feller is from Oklahoma, out of Heritage Hall. He's done a great job, and glad that he came back for his 6th year. Plott is also from Oklahoma, from Tuttle, Oklahoma, as well as Dayton Fix from Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Plott is probably wrestling better than he's wrestled all season, and that's what you hope for, And Travis Woodlake has wrestled really well, moved up 2 weight classes, wrestled at 165 last year. Now he's at 84. He put the strength on, built up, and he loves being there because he gets to eat and he gets to lift a lot. And that's kind of what he wants to do. But the nice thing about this team I do have is I have 8 of my 10 guys are from the state of Oklahoma, scattered out across the state, and we're proud of that. It's not usual that we have eight starters from the state. Normally it's 5 or 6 and half from across the country. But this year, 8 of our 10 is from Oklahoma.
Coach, before I let you go, your thoughts on the new OSU athletic vision plan they're talking about with some big improvements for your OSU wrestling facilities?
Yeah, it's a vision, we got to make it reality, and so, the one thing about facilities, I don't think they necessarily help you win. I think they give you a little bit more of comfort and give you some space that we need. We need the space. We got a small room, and the space is really needed right now. And I really feel like we're not far away from getting to where we want to be in the near future.
You have a chance, take it in. The NCAA National Championship Wrestling Tournament. That's March the 16th through the 18th at BOK Center in downtown Tulsa. Wish the Pokes all the best. Come back with a Remington report and one of the rarities in all of racing. You'll see that next on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
The Tulsa Oilers are back on the ice with a new owner, a new look, and a new attitude. Save big on season tickets today, 2022-23 season. Tickets starting as low as $17 per month. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers are back.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine-in, curbside, or carry-out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
Look at this photo finish from race 12 at Remington Park this past Saturday, March 11th. The Oklahoma Futurity quarter horse trial race. After 300 yards, it's a triple dead heat. It's number 2, Midnight Ride, number 3, Sausalito 100, and the number 7, Favorite Move, hitting the wire together in a time of 15.772. Unfortunately, it wasn't fast enough to make the finals of that Futurity. None of the 3 qualifiers will make the Oklahoma Futurity. The trio, though, however, will be remembered for their triple dead heat finish for the win. Now let's join Remington Park track announcer Dale Day for this week's Remington Report.
The 2023 spring racing season is underway at Remington Park. Let's take a look at how the American Quarter Horses Paints and Appaloosas did during the first 2 nights of the season, including the initial stakes race of the meeting, the Mighty Deck 3. The season got started with Paint and Appaloosa Maiden sprinting 250 yards, and the opening victory went to Wired BB, trained by Dirk Peary. They're off in 2023 at Remington Park. Good start for Randy Ona, the Master Smith at the rail. Dash Woman jumps out. Here comes Wired BB now making a strong bid. 100 yards to go. It is Dash Woman and Wired BB. They'll battle to the end. Wired BB is there by length. Wired BB, a 2-year-old paint colt, first-time starter, owned by Austin Watterson and Braden Bass of Pleasant Hill, Missouri. Dirk Peary trains. Gonzalo Gutierrez with the win. Wired BB paid $3.80 for the victory. The first set of trials took place on Friday evening, March 10th at Remington Park. Paints and Appaloosas were trying to qualify for the more than $203,000 Grade 1 Oklahoma Paint Appaloosa Futurity. Fastest qualifier came from the very first trial that took place in race 3 of the night, Muddy Puddles coming through under Justine Klaber. They're off. Whiskey Rain came away well, then leaned in, coming out, but coming on well. Ivory Turnpike 2, these 2 battling for the front. Muddy Puddles is going to be a player, and so is Salty X. Muddy Puddles outside, Whiskey Rain toward the inside. These 2 stretching out now. Whiskey Rain, Muddy Puddles gets up by a neck. Muddy Puddles, a 2-year-old paint filly, trained by Eddie Willis, ridden by Justine Klaber, owned by Posey Willis of Oklahoma City, top qualifier for the $203,000 plus Oklahoma Paint Appaloosa Futurity. The final will take place on March 25. Top 10 had Muddy Puddles on top, with just getting in the 10th position, Jay's Flying Chicken. The initial stakes race of 2023 took place on Friday, March 10th in the Mighty Deck 3, a restricted Grade 2 event for Oklahoma-bred veterans, going 250 yards. A big photo finish. All 9 in the field were lined up rail to rail. They're off in the Mighty Deck 3 stakes. Bit of a stumble by Swags. Away sharply, J.K. Wildcat Red and Kiss the Cartel at the rail. Trying to come on, Charlie's Fury to the outside, Prize Damone. Farther out, Trace Coronas. Here's J.K. Wildcat Red with the nose up front. Right there as well, Apolitical Payoff. Another photo. Number 2, Apolitical Payoff coming through with the victory in the Mighty Deck 3 stakes for owner Brenda Reiswig of Bismarck, North Dakota. Apolitical Payoff, trained by Jason Olmstead. Edwin Escobedo is the winning jockey. Brenda Reiswig, also the breeder of Apolitical Payoff in Oklahoma. Apolitical Payoff winning the Mighty Deck 3, the first stakes race of the season. Racing will continue at Remington Park Thursday through Sunday with the first race at 6 p.m., except on Sunday when we start at 4 p.m. Next week, we'll take a look at the qualifiers for the historic Oklahoma Futurity and the Oklahoma Derby. At Remington Park in Oklahoma City, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sportscene.
And I'm coming right back to wrap things up this week with my Equity Bank Lincoln's 2 cents worth sports commentary on the Oklahoma City Thunder's remarkable season.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank, we never forget it's your money.
You did it, Tulsa. You name the team. We name the team. You name the team. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m., BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com to get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast pace, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
Billy Sims knows barbecue. How about 9 meats, including brisket, chicken, pork, turkey, and ribs? Just to name a few, and 7 home-style sides. We start early to slow smoke the most delicious meats for over 12 hours.
Every day.
Wherever you want, online, dine-in, curbside, or carry-out. We've had a passion for over 15 years of serving delicious barbecue to people like you. Billy Sims has fast, drop-in friendly neighborhood service, loud enough for a tailgate and fancy enough for a wedding. Like we said, Billy Sims knows barbecue.
And it's time now for my closing commentary. Equity Bank presenting my Lincoln's 2 cents worth. I'm talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder and SGA. What a surprising season this Oklahoma City Thunder team has given us this year. In fact, of the 30 NBA teams, they're saying the Oklahoma City Thunder is the surprise of the entire 23-24 NBA season. I'm looking now for a play-in spot in the 16-team season playoffs. This Thunder team, the youngest in the NBA, average of 23 years, 51 days, has already surpassed its win total the last 2 seasons. They fight for their first postseason appearance now since 2020. They're led by the breakout all-star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The 6'6" guard is a native of Hamilton, Ontario. He started in high school. Shai was, listen to this, he was 5'7", 110 pounds, and he was cut from his junior varsity team. Well, he self-taught himself, he says, watching the YouTube videos of NBA stars like Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, and Dwayne Wade. He grew up, though, to be 6'6". After playing just 1 season at Kentucky, he was off to the NBA, drafted by the Los Angeles Clippers, and was a centerpiece in that big Thunder trade they made with Paul George going to L.A. SGA's second pro season has been a breakout. He's been averaging some 30 points a game. Outlook is even brighter at OKC, especially after last season's Thunder top draft pick and number 2 overall, Gonzaga's 7'1" center, Chet Holmgren. He's supposed to be back after missing all this season with a foot injury. And the Thunder's brilliant general manager, Sam Presti, has been stacking up those draft choices, trade pieces, and in Sam we trust. When you think of past Oklahoma City Thunder stars that they've brought to this franchise, all future Hall of Famers like Kevin Durant, James Harden, and of course Russell Westbrook. We can't wait for the 23-24 Thunder season. These days are all over and going to be a heck of a season coming up. Thunder expect to be a real threat in the NBA coming up. If you're looking for an NBA future team, bet on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Next week, we'll have Marvin Jones here, the head football coach of our indoor pro football league team, the Tulsa Oilers. And of course, a lot of basketball still. Join us next week on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Thanks for being with us.